Hello, welcome to the Nerdy Folks Podcast, a conversation about the nerdy things we love and the things that matter most. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson, and today's show is a complete hot mess, but I'm so glad you're here. It's going to be a fun time. We are talking about the Acolyte, episode 4 today. So the reason I say that the show is a hot mess is because this is a take two of sorts of today's episode. We recorded earlier, we recorded in haste, and something went wrong. There was some kind of user error, and my microphone did not pick up anything. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on a strange and magical journey. When the me from this time interacts with the Katie from an earlier time.
And I am Katie Seipel Anderson.
All right, let's get right down to business here. Episode 4 was a welcome change from episode 3. There was so much hate online for episode 3, but episode 4 for me was definitely satisfying.
I would agree with that. The last one was kind of confusing and just left more questions and maybe even a little disappointing.
Even though we're disappointed with some of the Star Wars content, we don't have to be so mean. Here's the thing. I think we can learn a thing or two from Star Trek fans. And I know I've mentioned this on the show before, but it's worth repeating. Star Trek fans understand that the show's going to have some ups and downs. Once in a while, you're going to get an episode that's a clunker. And you just enjoy watching Star Trek because, you're not doing something like going to the dentist or mowing your grass. Star Wars fans, for some reason, take it so serious. And I think it partly stems from the fact that Star Wars has traditionally come to us in the form of blockbuster movies. And so the stakes are super high when it comes to those blockbuster movies. And Star Trek, on the other hand, began as a TV show. And so right from the get-go, the Star Trek fans understood that, hey, it's low stakes, it's cool, there are like a bajillion episodes. But now, as we're getting more and more Star Wars content, we're going to have to adjust our mindset a little bit and not be so cranky. People were review bombing Star Wars The Acolyte because they were so mad about episode 3. I saw this in a few videos on YouTube. It was even getting to the point where other shows and movies with the term Acolyte in the title were getting their reviews lowered because people were accidentally clicking on them and just giving it like a 1-star review. So our overall thoughts were very positive for this episode. Let's drill down into some details. There was a fun new character introduced in this episode named Basil. And I mentioned that I thought Katie really liked that character, and here is her response.
I wouldn't say liked the character Basil. Although the character Basil is kind of funny, I just think I can see that character coming out again. I can see that being one of those characters that kind of pops up regularly. They had too many unique interactions with Basil, where it was kind of, I don't know, I could just see it being this lovable but annoying or frustrating character that pops back and helps, saves the day, frustrates people.
He reminds me of the droid sidekick that you see in all the Star Wars shows.
Right, exactly. But this one probably because it has a real life element to it. It also has the frustrating, we need a tracker for our tracker. They kind of have this frustrating love-hate relationship with it. Yeah. It wasn't I'm that's my favorite character of all time for Star Wars. It's just more the way the interactions happened. I could see Basil coming back.
To which I responded that I thought Jedi Kelnaka might actually eat Basil.
Gross. That did not cross my brain. I'll be honest. That was never there.
And what's with them not giving Kelnaka, the Wookee Jedi, a great fight scene? What's up with that?
Well, that was a very disappointing is a good way. I was expecting more from that character and excited to see a Wookee Jedi. I was actually, before that scene came up when he died, a spoiler alert, I guess, If you haven't seen the episode yet, probably don't watch any or listen anymore. If you haven't seen the episode yet, probably don't listen anymore. But I was really disappointed because I was excited to see a Jedi fight scene with a Wookiee, because Wookiees just don't strike me as having that same Jedi feel as the other Jedi, where they have those kind of like smooth motions. It would be very interesting to watch a Wookiee do a Jedi fight.
I agree. And I still have hope that we may yet see our Wookiee Jedi in action in a flashback sequence.
I can only.
One of the things that made episode 4 so fun to watch is that it contained some very pivotal moments for the series.
May having this realization that she doesn't have to kill all the Jedi and that Osha being alive changes everything makes me think that whoever this out there master is that she's working for and she's afraid of maybe was using May, or not using May, maybe was using Osha and her relationship with Osha, or her grief of Osha dying, as a means to control her into doing what this master Sith or whoever it is wanted her to do.
And that brings up the other big reveal of the episode, which was getting to meet the master dark side user. And that was so cool. We did get to see a glimpse of him or her in the trailer, but it was so cool just seeing that dark side user float down. They did a great job of introducing the character. Just the menacing presence. The dude looked like the newest member of Slipknot. It was pretty gnarly. The costume was just super gnarly, and I thought they did a really cool job. And I don't know if this was the actor or if this was something someone else came up with, but someone had the clever idea of making the character move in a really unique way. Like when they're using the dark side, they jerked, and it reminded me of like a inhuman zombie kind of look. So that was really interesting choice, and really set this character apart. So I can't wait to learn who the master is. I have no real predictions other than to say it's someone new. Katie, in our previous recording, in another time, in another place, had the idea that perhaps it was May and Osha's mom. You know, maybe she survived and has been working behind the scenes. But then I said, no, there's no way that could be the case because her hair is way too big to fit inside that little helmet. So, ha ha ha. One of the central themes in The Acolyte is facing the past. And Saul says to Osha in this episode, "You're going to face your past. We both will." I thought that was very poignant, not just for the show and for those characters, but really, I think it speaks to our life because, yes, we live in the present, we're moving forward, but there are many moments in our lives where we are confronted by our past. And I think the choice that we have to make is, are we going to look at it honestly or not? Our past is hard to look at sometimes because it's truly who we are. It's truly what we did and we can't change it. And that past can also be predictive of what we will become in the future. And so our past can actually be a warning for the future.
And as a Christian, this is something that I believe God helps us through. God shows us things and helps us through seeing ourselves and seeing our past and circumstances, things maybe that happened to us or that maybe we've done to others in a different light. And that can also open yourselves up to God's healing and the joy that can come from that, the joy and the peace that can come from that you can't really get any other way. That also goes back to Luke Skywalker when he's being trained by Yoda, I believe, when he had that battle and it ended up being himself.
Right, and that brings up an excellent point. Sometimes facing the past isn't necessarily our own past, but maybe our family past, and realizing that some of the reason we are who we are and we do the things we do is, at least in part, because of other people in our life, especially people who were very influential in our life, like parents, That kind of introspection can be very hard because it's difficult to admit that we are susceptible to the same things that our parents and our family members were. But it's really, really important because unless we're very deliberate about change and growing ourselves, we are probably going to repeat a lot of the same mistakes. It might look different, but we have a lot of the same tendencies as our family of origin. Katie and I are listening to the book Love is a Choice. So if you want to get more into this kind of topic, check out that book. It's really, really interesting. It's about codependency and all this stuff, and it's awesome.
The Jedi leader, I think is like Vernestra or something. She mentioned she's feeling like a shift, something bigger at play, bigger than May and Osha, something like a shift.
And I think we're going to see a shift in the show in the next couple episodes. We're heading into the final 2 episodes of the series. So hopefully we learn the truth of what happened on Osha and May's planet. And hopefully we learn more about the wider conspiracy with the evil Sith Lord. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Acolyte episode 4. Was it more satisfying? Did it set you at ease? Are you excited for the final 2 episodes? Or have you completely given up on this show? Let us know your thoughts and comments. And until next time, love ya. Take care. God bless. Bye bye. And Katie and I will be back at the same time and place together next time.